Welcome, friends. You are listening to the Mind Body Alchemy podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Miramontes. This is where intuition meets education in the realms of spirituality, fitness, mindset, and more, all to create lasting change. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about being under the guise of health when it comes to weight loss and how that sort of shows up in the world. It's not uncommon for me to hear people say things like, I just want to do this for my health. I just want to lose weight so I can be healthy. And those are valid reasons to go about navigating these weight loss waters. That being said, I think that a lot of times we talk about wanting health when the reality is we really want to change the way we look. And it's really difficult to admit that we would really like to change the way we look, because that would somehow be giving into weakness or admitting some sort of imaginary failure on our part for not looking a certain part or having a certain body type. So some of the ways that we can kind of determine whether or not we're looking for health-based changes or physique-based changes or both, or if it even matters, is to begin a process of self-inquiry. It's really important to be honest with ourselves about what our motivation is for making changes. If you can't be honest about why you want to see the changes, then your why is going to be really weak, and you're not going to have anything to fall back on and bring you strength and motivation when you're feeling bad, when you're having a hard day, when things are not falling into place, because you're kidding yourself. You're deluding yourself into thinking it's one thing when it's really the other. It can be both. It absolutely can be both. But the research is pretty clear in that the diseases and issues that we relate with weight are actually more to do with behavior than actually what you weigh on the scale, what your BMI is, or even what your body fat percentage is. So if it's just about health, then of course, all you need to do is start behaving in a way that supports your health. Eat more vegetables. Make exercising a priority. We build these foundational habits and they are healthier. And so when people lose weight and they get healthier, oftentimes people think that it's the weight loss that created the health improvements, when in reality, it's the behaviors that created the health improvements, and weight loss was a side effect of that. Even if weight loss was the goal, it's the behaviors themselves that are responsible for the change in markers, the change in how you feel, all of these things. So in reality, someone who lives in a larger body and someone who lives in a smaller body can have the same level of health, even the same feeling of health. And someone in a smaller body can be unhealthy. Someone in a larger body can be very healthy. So we can't really use weight as a marker of health. Once you build the fundamentals, once you have built a foundation of losing diety thoughts, losing the diety behaviors, ditching the extreme approaches, and having a habit of exercising regularly, having the habit of not overeating, and fix your relationship with food where you're not emotionally eating, you're not binge eating, you're not over restricting anymore, you're not denying yourself of the foods that you enjoy or the experiences that you enjoy, and you're also not abusing those things as well. You're not relying on them to be your only sources of joy and pleasure and well-being when it comes to food. When you have all of that in place and all of these behaviors are health-promoting behaviors, then what is left if you are still feeling bad about yourself is something different entirely. You have given yourself this standard where you pass or you fail based on how you look and how quickly you get there. And if you're not enjoying it, if there's no fun behind it, if there's no well-being, if there's a sense of urgency and it's fear-based and you're doing all of these things like body checking and weighing every day and thinking about how you can just cut a little bit more food or change this or change that, that comes from a place of fear. That comes from a place of wanting more love, more acceptance, more belonging, and you're feeling like you have to prove something to someone instead of being true to who you are and meeting your needs in a healthy and balanced way. When we have this urgency and we have all of these sort of disordered behaviors when it comes to preoccupation with food in our bodies, that has to do with having this identity that says to you that you are only worthy of love when you're a certain size, or you're only worthy of speaking up or being noticed or taking up space in the world when you're actually in a smaller body. And that's really nonsense, right? So once you have all of the health improving behaviors in check and those things are working for you, I want to recommend that anything else that you do beyond that, that you look at it as a hobby, not health. Saying you want to lose weight under the guise of health is generally a dishonest position once you have the behaviors that are health promoting. The reason I say that is because we don't actually have to lose weight in order to be healthy. Yes, sometimes weight loss and health do coincide as far as improvements go, but they are correlated, not necessarily one equaling the other. So if you're looking at improving your physique, buying a smaller pair of jeans, wanting to look a certain way, building muscles that are visible, not just building muscles to be strong, but visible muscles, then that is a hobby. It's okay to want to lose weight, to have visible muscles, to have that pretty bicep vein. I love to see a bicep vein. I think that it's great. But let's not kid ourselves and say that that is a health promoting behavior. That is not what that is. That can be self-gratifying. It's a goal that you can set out to achieve, but it needs to be looked at with the same amount of fun and the same energy as any other goal would. So maybe learning to play an instrument, learning to sing, saving money, or improving your home, or whatever it is, any other goal that you want to achieve. It's all about just taking step after step after step and seeing the progress and seeing the results from that without shaming yourself for not doing it fast enough, without making yourself wrong until it's achieved, without putting your life on hold until you have a specific reflection in the mirror. Because I'll tell you what, when it comes to physique goals, there is not an end. There is never going to be an end. There's always going to be something that you're picking at, something that you're pinching or pulling or wishing was smoother or tighter or higher or more muscular or thinner or smaller. All of those things are going to happen forever and ever. Our bodies age, our bodies change with pregnancy, with time, with behaviors, with habits. All of these things impact the way our bodies look and the way that they hold up. We can't expect our bodies not to shift and change for our entire lives. They're going to. And so the rest of the physique improvements, anything that is within your control, needs to be something that you're enjoying. And if it's not something you're enjoying, then you know it's an identity that you are stuck on. If there's a timeline associated with it, if there's shame associated with it, if there's thoughts about other people and what they're going to think of you or what they're going to say about you or how they're going to feel about you, then it's not a hobby and it's not for your health. This is about societal expectations. It's about a story that you've bought into, and it's ruining your relationship with food, and it's ruining your relationship with your body, and it's changing your experience in your day-to-day life. How fun is that? I would say not very. So I would encourage you to look at physique and the changes that come along with it as a hobby. Let's not pretend that this is health-based. And if dieting and changing your physique is your only hobby and it amounts to you constantly checking on your body and checking on yourself, and you're not spending that mental energy on other things that are fulfilling as well, then you might have an identity issue here. You might have to think about the way that you are accepting this story, the way that you are allowing yourself to be a victim of unrealistic expectations. The discipline required to really change your physique is high, and that's okay. It's okay to discipline yourself, and it's exciting to get in the gym and lift heavier weights. It's fun to watch your body change. There's no doubt about it. And let's also not forget that society does treat people better in certain bodies. That's just the way it is. And so I don't blame anyone for wanting to try to fit in or fit a mold, because that is part of a survival mechanism in us that says we want to belong. We want to be praised. We want to be important. We want to be listened to. We want to be heard and seen. And that comes with certain expectations. That comes with the conditioning that we're all a part of. But we don't have to walk into this with our eyes closed and pretend that it's something that it's not. This does not have to be a miserable experience, and you don't have to take it to an extreme level, because I'll tell you what, once you get to wherever it is that you think you're going, that will not solve your problems. That is not what's going to help you find love. That is not what's going to help you move on in your job. It's not going to find you a better relationship, a better circumstance, or anything else. All it's going to do is change your reflection in the mirror. And yes, you might get more confidence from being in a body that you're happier with, but that true confidence only comes if you have changed on a deep level as a person. If you have owned the new behaviors and they have become part of who you are, then you will become confident because you kept the promises that you made to yourself and you had your own back. And 10 years from now, you'll look back and you'll go, you know what? I'm really glad that I started walking every morning. I'm really glad that I started adding more vegetables to my meals. I'm really glad that I spent time in that community, in that group where we were working on our relationship with food and we held each other accountable. I'm so glad I developed the skill set that I needed to honor my emotions and to be willing to feel them instead of eat them away. Those are the kind of things that is going to build your confidence and get you somewhere else in life. Those skills transfer. But if you had to grunt your way through, if you had to restrict your way to that body, you're always going to live in fear of losing it. You're always going to be worried that the next binge is going to be the thing that unravels you. And statistics show that you will lose it. It won't stick. Most dieters gain their weight back plus extra. That's just the way that the body works when you do it from a place of restriction and fear and using extreme methods. The most important thing you can focus on is creating your foundation, becoming someone who behaves in a way that gets them the results that you want to have right now before you get it. So instead of saying, I'm going to fix my relationship to food after I lose weight, I just need to get a jump on this thing and then I'll work on my relationship to food. Bullshit. No, you won't. You'll always be in fear of regaining the weight you lost because you used such a ridiculous tactic to lose it that you will worsen your relationship to food. It has to come from a place of abundance and love and self-respect and worthiness. And it has to come from a place of being willing to put in the reps and practice day in and day out to become this new person, this better version of you, this higher version of yourself that keeps your own promises and holds yourself to a higher standard. And perfection doesn't belong here. It can't be that you have to do everything perfectly or you're not good enough. That is not fun. And it's not required. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have hang-ups. And if you really care about your health and your well-being, instead of berating yourself constantly for every mess up or every time the scale doesn't go down or every time that you end up overeating a meal by accident, or maybe you ate a meal distracted or mindlessly, instead of beating yourself up for those things, Take it as an opportunity to learn. Why did I do that? What happened here? What emotions was I feeling? What's going on in my life right now? And what can I do about it? What decision would I have preferred to make in this circumstance? How can I prepare in advance for the next time? Don't go into the commentary of, I suck, I'm a loser, all these things, and pretend that you don't want to do this anymore because you care about your health. Your health means mental health too. It means well-being too. It is not just about the way you look. In fact, it's not about the way you look at all. Research is clear. You can live in a larger body and be in a healthy body. Does that mean that you can't lose weight? No. Of course not. You can. But the health comes from behavior changes. And the physique changes are nothing more than a hobby. And if they are not fun, what are you even doing them for? What are you forcing your way through for if you're not enjoying your hobbies? Now, that doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it every time, right? Somebody who plays soccer, for example, may not want to show up to practice, but that doesn't mean they don't love the game. Maybe they don't want to do drills, but that doesn't mean that they don't love soccer. That just means that it takes a little extra discipline and practice in order to make themselves show up, because they know in the end, it's worth the practice. It's worth the time and energy spent. So no, you're not going to enjoy every moment of it. But in general, this should be something that you love doing and that you're doing it for yourself and for your own well-being, that you're giving back to yourself, not taking from yourself. If you're always dreading it, if you're always feeling gross, if you're always feeling bad, you need a new strategy. If you're coming from a place of scarcity where you think that you're going to lose it at any moment, you need a new strategy. This should be exciting and fun. If it's coming from a place of fear and you're always afraid you're going to lose it, and if you lose it, then somebody's going to think something about you or say something about you or have an opinion about you, that is not a sustainable approach to transformation, and it has nothing to do with health. Let's be honest. Something that I tell my boys when they play video games, and they're at each other's throat and they're sighing and yelling at the television and telling each other they should have been in this corner and they should have been in that corner and you should have had my back and all these things. And it sounds like a war zone in my living room. I let them know, hey, you guys, if it's not fun, you can be done. And that's kind of been our mantra throughout all these years from the time they were young. All my kids are near adult now, but I still say, if it's not fun, you should be done. Why are you doing this if you're not getting anything out of it except for a mindset that is based in fear, scarcity, and like you're going to lose it? The people in your life that are validating your choices, they're validating it from that same place of societal conditioning, fear, and scarcity. But the people who really love you, the people that you want in your circle, the people that you attract when you become your authentic self, those are the people that are going to stick around no matter what. So you don't have to worry about losing relationships and friendships or status if you gain a few pounds and decide that you don't want to be super lean anymore. Focus on your health and well-being, and the rest of it should just be enjoyable. And if it's not, there is no pressure at all to keep it up. And you can't build that foundation of habits from a place of urgency and fear. If you really want to be healthy, it has to come from a place of changing who you are behaviorally on a deep level. I am someone who exercises. I'm an exerciser. I eat vegetables, not I'm going to have some vegetables today because I want to lose weight, or I'm going to eat salads for lunch every day. No, that's not changing who you are. That's forcing something. Practice being the kind of person who lives in the body that you want from a place of abundance and joy, and see where that takes you, instead of signing up for these short-term programs, doing diets out of fear, and just hurrying up already to lose the weight so that you can finally feel good about yourself. You got to feel good about yourself now. That's where sustainable transformation comes from a place of acceptance. Where you are now is exactly where you need to be, and the rest of it comes with practice, time, patience, and pleasure. It has to come from a place of joy and knowing where you're going. So that's it for me this week. I hope you guys got something out of this. I would love to see you screenshot this, post it on social media, tag me at soulcenteredfitness.co on Instagram, and let me know what your takeaways were. Let me know what your thoughts are and how can I support you in this. I'm always looking for feedback, so please leave me a rating and review, and you can reach out to me anytime. Have a great week. Bye.